Hello and welcome to Hey Clarity. I'm your host, Lindsay, and today we are opening the Akashic Records on loneliness. So thank you to everyone who voted in the poll. It was tied between lifetimes and loneliness, but loneliness was the one that was most suggested at the beginning. So this is L week of the alphabet superset. There will be more information about the alphabet superset in the description box below. And the questions that we're going to be asking today around the topic of loneliness are: what's the opening message or opening visual? Foundational question: what is loneliness from the Akashic Records perspective? And then we're just going to go right into what's the most important message we need to know about loneliness, and leave it up to the records to share with us what they feel is most important to share with us around loneliness. So maybe this will be short unless they have a lot to say around the topic, but let's get into it. So I opened the Akashic Records and said the opening prayer prior to hitting record. We are in the Akashic Records of loneliness now. And so the opening message or opening visual. What is the opening message or opening visual? They're saying caved. So loneliness is like caved. And they're showing someone like embedded in a rock. So like, it's like, yes, like someone is sitting in a cave, but they're also showing like, as if they're showing like a variety of things. It's like someone, almost like caveman days, like in a cave, but then they're also showing like a beautiful, like house that happens to be like embedded in the side of like a mountain or a hill, and like looking out, but being in this kind of like private safe place. And they're flashing the hermit card. They're flashing the hermit card in tarot in front of me, but they're saying caved. And I'm getting like silence, but it's almost like they're saying like isolated, almost like on purpose. They're saying like on the purpose, isolated on the purpose. And then they're showing the hermit card, and they're emphasizing the little light that the hermit is holding. So that's the opening message, opening visual. And let's get into the foundational question. So what is loneliness? They're saying like silence inside, like emptiness. And they're almost showing like, not almost, they're giving me the visual and the sound of like a drop of water in a pool, and you can hear the echo. So there's this hollowness, there's this emptiness, this silence, but there's also like the smallest sounds can be very loud in the silence. And they're saying isolated, they're saying barred. And they're showing kind of like feeling like you're in a prison and there's bars, but they're open enough for you to just walk through. Like the bars aren't so close that you can't walk through. They're bars and you can easily walk through, but they're almost saying like, choose to be isolated, choose to be in silence. And they're saying like, you can go out, you can step through, you can step out. They're kind of saying like into the wilderness. And there's explore and adventure. And they're showing someone like leaving their cave. And maybe like initially along the journey, they're like walking through the woods, and it's quiet. And like maybe they're seeing some animals on this journey, this pathway. But then I'm getting like eventually they like come to a village of people. And so they're saying there's like processing of like the transition, transforming from silence, isolated hermit mode to be in the cave and then coming out of it. So they're just saying like there's a journey, and they're saying like how long like depends on you to go find like the people, the village. And they're showing like if you choose to be in silence, if you choose to be isolated. But they're saying like there's a way, there's always a pathway, a journey, an exploration, an adventure to the village. And they're saying to the next village. And there's like a highlight, and I'm getting like they're showing a star. So it's like person in cave, pathway, and then the village. And they're saying this journey, this pathway, there's a big star along this pathway, along this journey. And they're calling it like your North Star. And that the pathway and the journey from loneliness, silence, isolation, cave, hermit, to the village, the social, the people, this journey is like an important way. It's an important one. And so we don't always, we have trouble, like they're saying can't take the journey or can't move in the direction like just right, like it's not just right, like the conditions might not be just right for us to go from isolation, loneliness to, but they're saying distinction of the direction in a way, towards a way to like this village. And they're showing like the village is like, it's warm and it's glowing, and it's like, are there a lot of people in this village, or is it kind of quiet? There's like, they're showing like a village where there's like lots of party, like celebration and partying and dancing and singing and laughing. Like there's lots of that. And then there's maybe something more subdued. They're saying subdued. So it's going from hermiting to celebrating, isolated, silence, inner, this like inner wildness, to like out wildness, out into the wildness, out into the wilderness, the adventure, the exploration. And they're showing like the reluctance of making that first step onto that path. Like that first step is very uncomfortable because there's like, they're saying like non-direction, undirection, like undirected, like not sure where you're going. And it's just like one step in front of the other. Like you'll eventually get together, they're saying. You'll get togetherness, but it's one step in front of the other. And it's like, first they're just showing this progression of like stepping out of loneliness. But they're really hitting home that like loneliness is like hermit mode. And how long are you going to be in hermit mode? And how long can you be in hermit mode? And regardless of how long you have been there or choose to be there, or you can't get yourself out of it in the mind. They're saying you can always get out of this hermit mode, but it requires that you take these steps along this pathway to togetherness, whether that's social. They're saying society, civilization, like they're showing like the vast array of like, feeling isolated in silence. And it's really these like 3 steps: the loneliness, the path, the journey, which can be uncomfortable. There's a lot of unknown and mysteries in those steps. And then there's the togetherness. They said eventually, ultimately. Okay, so anything else around what is loneliness? They're saying silence isolated the hermit. Home, right? They're saying home in yourself. They're saying it's an opportunity to clear house, to clear your mind, to clear your pathway, They're saying like thinking, not overthinking, thinking, not overthinking. They're saying like when you dip into the overthinking, you feel more stuck. It almost like you bring in more fear of the unknown with the overthinking. And they're just saying like if you move your body, the overthinking can drop into thinking because you're focusing on one step in front of the other to get out of the hermit mode. So each step, I'm getting out, I'm getting away, I'm getting out. So each step is like very important, and like there's depending on like the way that you want to be together. But they're saying like if there's struggle with feeling isolated and alone in the silence and the inner mind, they're kind of saying like clear house first. Like feel really solid, because I'm getting that like you kind of like purge and release and clear all this stuff. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready for, social interactions, expression, togetherness. And this silence, this hermit mode is an opportunity to get into your inner world, inner mind, the inner makings, the gears turning in your mind, and to like decide like who you are. So they're saying like, who am I? And who do I want to be? And they're saying like along the pathway to the togetherness, and then with the togetherness, like there's changing. You don't know. So you might start at this journey in the hermit mode, believing yourself to be a specific way, a specific person. And then once you set out on this path of like trying to find, they're saying the village of togetherness, you may change along the way, learn things about yourself in the solitude of finding the way, and the interactions here and there you might have along the way until you have like kind of this like togetherness, this group, this village. And they're saying like the village could be like, one or two people that are just so full of life and excitement and adventure that they feel like a whole group. So some people feel like more than one person, like they're so fulfilled and they're so fulfilling that, you coming together, two people feel like 5 to 10 people. Like I'm getting satisfying, fulfilling, rewarding, like these connections. So like one person, two people can feel like 5 to 10 people when you're together, because they're saying like wholesome. Like, and each of you are very wholesome, and each of you individually are very dynamic and very fulfilled and very, they're saying like multifaceted. And so they're just showing like a couple of people can feel like a lot more, like a much bigger group. So they're kind of saying like too many numbers, like don't get caught up in like numbers. They're kind of saying if you're like down on yourself about like how many quality people, how many quality connections, how much quality is in your community, they're kind of saying like don't get caught up in like numbers. Don't be caught up in numbers, but like focus on like the quality of your interactions and like your self-expression in togetherness. Okay. What's the most important message we need to know about loneliness? They're saying sad times, chaotic times, and they're saying reach out to each other. To like feel the togetherness like near and far. And they're showing like two arms like reaching through screens, like on computers or like in the TV, and just like the extension of friendship. They're saying fellowship, humanship. So they're saying again, sad times, chaotic times, and like reach out to each other and like check in on each other. And if you're feeling alone and isolated, it could just be a simple, hey, hi, I'm thinking of you, and that's it. And I'm getting like, whether or not like you're to be responded to or not, the message received is like very meaningful and very powerful and very potent. And it's like they're saying like one way or two way, just this extended acknowledgement of each other is like a way to be together near and far. And they're saying this is like one of the benefits of modern technology is like the ability to, they're saying like cross cultures, cross oceans, cross continents, cross countries, they're like there's no boundaries with like your connections. And so just like a simple text message, email, hey, I'm thinking of you, I hope all is well. Love, whatever. Anything else? They're just saying reach, like be extended, extend yourself. And they're saying like especially the hermits, especially the hermit mode. And I'm getting like, you can fall back into habits, pull back deeper into this like reluctance to like communicate and connect. They're saying like fear connection. They're like rusty, like you might feel kind of rusty in the relationship or the connection or the community, but they're saying like it doesn't really matter. And they're making me think of like, when like you have people that have been in your life like throughout the history of your life, and like you reach out years later, no time has passed. It's like, oh hi, and like so much has changed in your lives, but like you pick up where you left off, and they're just like, it feels nice. Like it feels nice to hear from you. I'm so happy to hear from you. I'm so happy to be, connected to you. I'm so happy to be in this friendship. I'm so happy to be, in connection with you. Like they're just saying like all these like really just like simple, they're saying the word delicate, like delicate check-ins. They're meaningful. And they're saying like not to be imposing, like you're not imposing. And again, don't get caught up on like whether or not you're responded to. I'm getting like no rejection. It's just important to like reach out. They're saying like you never know. Like it's never known like how meaningful a surprise hey or hi could be in someone's life. Hi, I'm thinking of you. Heart. They're like simple. Like it's so simplistic. And it's so easy to do these days. They're like, you don't have to like, they're joking, they're like carrier pigeon or like send a letter. It's like, it's instant, like instantly communicate. You can instantly communicate. So reach out. They're saying like reach out when you're in loneliness, and also reach out if you're like concerned about anyone. Let me see. Anything else? What's the most important message you need to know about loneliness? They're saying widespread global community. And they're saying like oddly, like there's a lot of disconnection. They're like, it's puzzling how like overwhelming your abilities to make connections are, and yet there's so much disconnection. And they're saying like we take advantage, it's been taken advantage of, taken for granted. Like it'll always be there, you'll always be there. And I'm getting like time, like our confusion around like time moving fast. Time is moving really fast, time moves really fast, and like we don't always realize how much time has passed. And I'm getting that like some of us are like moving really fast in life, and some of us are moving really slow in life, and so our concept of time is like really like mixed up. And so we kind of take for granted, like they're saying like our ability for connection, and these disabilities of like disconnection. They're saying disabilities of disconnection. They're saying like disabling, like almost like we take it for granted it's like the ability to connect is like enabling us like not to connect, enabling us into more disconnection, because it's so easy. Like we take it for granted how quickly and easily we can connect. It's almost like it's too easy. And so we like don't do it, is what they're saying. It's really interesting. They're showing like when you get like notifications on social media that it's someone's birthday, and like they're showing like a post of people just being like HBD exclamation point, you know. And it's like there's like in the past it's like you may have had to write that friend's, you know, birthday in your calendar and look at a calendar and be like, I'm gonna call this friend and wish them a happy birthday. And now it's just like like meaningless, they're saying. Like there's really like no meaning to some of it, versus like how meaningful it is to like simply like reach out, give someone a call, send them like a personal email or a personal text message or something, like to kind of like get to the one person, just be like, happy birthday, I'm thinking of you, you know. They're just like, it's more meaningful. And again, they're just saying like taken for granted, like we just take it for granted. Okay, anything else? They're saying like sadness is really overwhelming. And people are feeling too tired and exhausted to like make connections. And that's creating the loneliness. It's like feeling the sadness, the sorrow, like the chaotic, overwhelming experiences of the world are making us feel too heavy to like pick up the phone. They're saying like dial up the phone, like dialing, calling. And there's a lot of misconnections because a lot of us are feeling so sad and tired and exhausted with all the heaviness. And they're saying paralyzed by fears of the unknown, afraid to take those steps. And so what they're doing is they're encouraging you, if you've been feeling very like silencing, silenced, and isolated, to take those steps. They're saying like baby steps. If you're really suffering from like fears of the unknown, take those baby steps somewhere. Take them somewhere. They're like, go on a trip, go on a hike, go on a walk, step outside, get outside, take some steps. And they're like, you never know who you might find. You never know who you might find. They're saying on like a simple trip to the grocery store, on a simple walk down the street. And so whether or not you're going out with the intention for togetherness, they're saying just to kind of be among each other, step outside, step along that pathway. There's a star over all of our pathways whenever we step outside, whether we're hermiting or if we're in togetherness. This pathway, just stepping outside, just being outside, just the journey, the adventure, the exploration, there's this North Star above it always. And so they're saying there's no reason to be afraid of the unknown, no fear of the unknown. They're saying like the mysteries are magical and potent. And they're saying like, you know, with the uncomfortability also like have some expectations of like great surprises. They're saying like wonderful surprises, new faces, new people, new places. So like don't fear the unknown. There's always a North Star on your pathway along the unknown and the journeys of the mysteries. And they said, trust your intuition. They're saying, especially on that journey, on that pathway, when you're embarking on a journey, when you're traveling, when you're moving, when you're exploring and adventuring, they're saying to trust your intuition. Like, let that also guide you. And they're showing almost like an umbilical cord from your heart to the star. And they're just saying, like you're connected, and like this, it's almost like the star is like hovering above you, up in the sky. And it's like just a few steps ahead of you, guiding you. And it's almost like you're connected to it, and it's like pulling your heart down the pathway. So they're like, trust that, trust your intuition, trust your instincts. They're saying your guides, your angels, your past and loved ones, everyone, like, they're like, all of that is in that star guiding you along this pathway. Okay. Final messages. They're saying self-instinction. Loneliness is the opportunity to, they're saying, know thyself, see thyself, trust thyself, and then step outside and exercise your instincts. And they're calling it self-instinction, self-instincts. And then they went sensitivity. Like long periods of time in isolation, your sensitivity is heightened, like so much, which is also contributing to like your fears of the unknown. But they're saying self-instinction. Think of loneliness as an opportunity. But they're also saying, like, get out, like get outside when you're done, like when you're really tired of it. And just one foot in front of the other, baby steps, baby steps. Okay. So that's the Akashic Records on loneliness. I hope you enjoyed that, and feel free to leave any comments of how that may have resonated with you in the comment section below. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks for watching.